Well, good morning, everyone. How are you all doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's wonderful to see you all here today. Genesis is a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower spiritual growth. And we love that you are here to share in that with us today. I am Dave. I am a practitioner, and I will be your host here today. Our online host is Cal, which we heard his fantastic voice just a moment ago. Thank you for that, Cal. And so now I invite us all to gather together and read our mission and vision statements, which will appear shortly. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe space of comfort and peace where all are welcome and accepted, and our vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love, accepting all, a home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. Isn't that the truth? All right, we will go on to our announcements right here. So, spiritual principles and practices. Oh, nope, we're going to do with the healers and hunters. I'm going to follow the script on the screen rather than here. All right, here we go. So healers and hunters, that is my group that I host with Jim Monson, and that meets on the third Monday. We have been doing the spiritual laws of success, and I very much highly encourage you to join in with that. And also I have a little inside information that Jim Monson will be sharing a little bit of his hospital experience, which includes some mystical things, and I'm not going to get any more than that. That's a little teaser. So if you want to join into that, that's the way you do it, right? You tease it.
Are you inviting the women then? Is that what you're saying?
Anyone can join in to our group. It is welcome to all.
Wow.
So I will just say that right now. Yes.
Look out, the women are going to overrun.
Well, there you go. That's fine.
Just use the script.
All right. What? I want to go on the fly here, man. Makes it more real. Okay, going back to the script. Spiritual principles and practices. Okay, spiritual principles and practices begin February 22nd. Students will embark on a profound journey of self-discovery, spiritual growth, and intentional manifestation by understanding the principles, practices, and methods employed in the science of mind teachings. Align your desires with spiritual wisdom by identifying a personal intention and connecting it to the relevant principles and practices. This class will take place on Zoom during the lunch hour on Thursdays with spiritual practitioner ChristineEss Young. Tuition is only $170 until February 11th, so get in there quick, and $200 after. Register to get more information online or at the welcome table. The Wednesday night services will not be a drop-in group as originally announced. The We Best Meditations will work as a meditation training program. Once this 8-week session is over, there will be an opportunity to join in on the next training, so that's awesome. So if you didn't get in this time, you can get in next time. So you can see James for more information on that. Christy Randolph is hosting a mindful eating program on Monday nights via Zoom from 8:30 to 9. The goals are to support each other on staying on our eating path, sharing successes, challenges, and eating hacks, and share favorite recipes. If you would like to be part of this group, connect with Christine here at service or email her at randolph.christinecase@gmail.com. That sounds cool. Join us for a visioning workshop on Sunday, February 4th, led by Reverend Rose and Cynthia Zink. While visualizing involves dreaming about your desired future and planning visioning developed by Reverend Michael Betwith, it is a process where you sit in silence, allow a divine perspective to reveal what your life can truly look like. Experience meditation, active listening, and the joy of creating vision boards in the company of like-minded individuals. And please sign up at the volunteer desk so we know how many supplies are needed. Thank you for all your pledges. Your contribution plays a vital role in ensuring the success and vibrancy of Genesis for this coming year. And Want to join a care circle? Care circles meet at least once a month, and you can see Karen Williams if that sounds like a fun thing to do. I have been leading those for several years, and it's a great way to connect with people in the community on kind of like a smaller level. So I really highly encourage you to do that. And lastly, it says book study will be held after service, but I know that's not true because we're doing a practitioner meeting. So see, going on script doesn't always help you. You got to go off script sometimes. See? And go on the fly. So there you go. So that's enough for our announcements today. So is there anyone here for the first time today? We are all family and friends, which I just absolutely love, and we have filled up our space beautifully today. I just absolutely love it. And all of you online, we're so honored and blessed to have you here today. Let's stand up and greet everyone.
Good morning. Hi, good morning. Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Randy.
I'll just stay right here for the service. Never get enough. It's a mystical meditation. We experience it, and we're doing it on Wednesday nights instead of the intention. So once we're done with this round, I think it's 8 weeks. And once we're done with this round, I think we're going to do that happened. The person that gave me her husband was very allergic to it, and he had a lot of health issues. And they knew I would take her there. So she gave me is actually a Scottish her ears are flattened out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyway, her ears are up. She has that breed.
Yeah, mine was a Maine Coon. They look cute.
I hope
And
we're
this
not
one
sending
is-
crazy disappearing emails. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I know that's always a favorite time of my experience, getting up and saying hi to everyone, and with such a full crowd here today. I didn't know I could just probably make that go on for a lot longer, but the show must go on, as they say. So right now I'd like to take time to just thank the volunteers that are in service today. We have the setup and cleanup crew. We have Soren, Gideon, Eric, Anna, Cal, and anyone else who's a part of that. Just thank you for that. We have our morning greeter, Cynthia. Christy, sorry, thank you for the correction on that. Projector in the video, Eric and the mic team over there. We have on our offering Gideon. Sound, Soren, makes me sound, he makes me sound good. I like it. Our online host is Cal. Our service practitioner is Cynthia, and our music guest today is ChristineEss, Young, and Jell, and I also wanted to give another shout out to Cal for doing the service for us today. So thank you. So as I said before, today our practitioner for service is Cynthia Zink, and if you want to experience Cynthia's absolute brilliance in prayer, I invite you to see her after service today. So now I invite us all to sing our centering song, Breathe and Turn Within.
By ChristineEss Young.
Good morning, Genesis. My name is Cynthia Zink, and I am a practitioner here, and I welcome you all here this morning, especially Karen. I'm sure she'll get me some other time. So I found this reading at the beginning of the year on birthdays. And I said, oh, my birthday's on the 13th. I'm going to do this on the 14th. And then somebody had already signed up for practitioner. So I had to move it to today, which is actually better yet, because today is Ernest Holmes' birthday. And he would have been 137, just so you all know. Anyway, this is written by a man named Robert Bitzer. Dr. Bitzer opened the Hollywood Religious Science Church in 1930. And he was minister there for 64 years. So anyway, he says, I love birthdays. They have nothing to do with age or getting older. They represent milestones of progress and degrees of growth in wisdom. Years do not make us older. That does. thought does that if we let it. The greatest event in our life was our birth. A tremendous cosmic push literally catapulted us out from the womb. This God thrust has been a continuous mighty force in our life ever since. Our self-evolution takes us on an upward spiral in our soul's expansion. Each year as we go over the spot on our spiral that registered our birth, we receive a new cosmic thrust from the same originating mind. Inspiration and power for a new year, a new life, a new expansion. Nothing of the past year is included in that spiral, only that which is ahead of us. We are always the product of our self-acceptance. We came from God, we are still in God, and always will be life. This should be our eternal remembrance. The longer we live, the more things we have to forget. Progressive souls rise above mistakes, failures, and frustrations. Such beliefs and experiences are cast out of consciousness. Those that cannot or will not detach themselves from mistakes and negation become subject to the burden which false beliefs impose. An ancient teaching affirmed that our positive constructive attitudes register in our consciousness as light. The infinite recognizes us only as shining light. Failure and negation are not recorded. Only our sincerity and integrity revealed as light has any permanence. We are not accountable for what we did, nor attain or do, but we are accountable for our progress and what we do accomplish. Thou, God, seest me as perfect. How do you see yourself on your birthday? So if you would join me now in prayer, you can close your eyes, you can sit and stare, you can do whatever makes you comfortable in prayer. So I know that there is one power and one presence, one creative force in this universe. And I know that that is God in our life. That is God, that is Spirit, that is the universe, that is Buddha, that is whoever or however you name it. It is here with us at all times, and it created us. And as we each celebrate our birthdays this year, I hope you remember that our birthdays are times of celebration of our unity with that one creative power, that one divine love that brought us into this world. And I know for each of us today that we are celebrating life, that we celebrate life in our own individual way, that we each are on our own spiritual journey, that we are each looking to be the best person that we can be, for our journey is our journey. It is no one else's. We can only live our life to the best of our ability. And I know that God is with us no matter what, that God is there to guide and guard and protect us, that God is here to love us and to show us that joy and peace and abundance that can be our life as long as we recognize it. We can feel God within us. We can know that God is here in everything that we say, everything that we do, and everything that we accomplish, because we are one with that divine presence. And I'm grateful for our service here today. I'm grateful for that creative power that is behind us. I am grateful for the love that I know as God, that I know as me, that I know as each of you. And I know that all is well and that all is good. I release these words into the power and action of the law, knowing that law has already said yes, and so it is. Amen.
So it is.
And so now I welcome to the stage ChristineEss Young and Joel Feldman.
That was amazing. Thank you. So this year, we are talking about a grand rising. We are picturing a grand rising for ourselves. And a grand rising is an African American term for more than just, a good start. But it's, you start grandly and your grand vision can inspire the whole world. Today our affirmation is, the universe is always conspiring for my highest and best. So let's say that together. The universe is always conspiring for my highest and best. The universe is always conspiring for my highest and best. And yet it doesn't always seem so. I mean, we make the best intentions, and then the universe, it seems like it's laughing at our plans. Life can get in the way of our dreams. How do we bring a grand rising into our lives, given the faults of planning, the problems of planning? And we stay present and trust the divine. Every challenge thrown at us is designed to shape us into the people we're meant to be. So when things go wrong, it's building our resilience, it's building our growth, it's making us able to grow and to learn and develop into more capable beings. So this is one thing we know in science of mind, is the eternal verities never change. If we have faith in truth, love, and beauty, those will always be around. Everything else, it's like quicksilver, it slips out. I'm going to talk today about Michelle Obama, and she has a bunch of, a number of things which I think relate to our topic, the universe conspiring for our highest and best. And I'm going to take another look at Jason and the Argonauts. If you remember, last year we did a whole bunch of Jason and the Argonauts adventures. We've got one more today, where we find out, when I first picked Jason, I was nervous because Jason is most famously known for the play Medea, where he comes out very badly. And actually, it's interesting, but we'll find out more about him, and why he comes out badly and what that has to do with us. But let's start with Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama, in June 3rd, 2011, had a kitchen garden outside the White House, and she invited a bunch of kids and a bunch of Native Americans to it, and she grew the Three Sisters. And she declared that this was the first time the Three Sisters had been grown at the White House. Does anybody know who the Three Sisters are? Oh, Karen, of course. Yes, beans, corn, and squash. And the reason they call them the Three Sisters, and the reason they're important for today, is that they help each other out. Just by their nature, they help each other out. The corn grows and it provides the structure for the beans to grab onto, so the beans get to climb without needing additional poles. The beans affix nitrogen to the soil, which feeds all the plants. It makes them grow better, it makes the soil more rich, it enhances them. And the squash grows down low with big leaves, so it shades the soil, keeping weeds from growing. And so you get to grow 3 crops in the space of 1, and it saves you time, space, and they're more nutritious and grow better. So it's inspiring me to my garden, although I don't think I have enough sunlight to grow corn. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get a good garden spot this year. One of the things, so Michelle Obama liked to say, kindness, presence, support, and connection are all ways that we change the world. Kindness, presence, support, and connection. And I assert that those are all divine principles. Those are things that are unchanging. Even though we will be kind to different people, to ourselves and to others, it's the divine quality of kindness, the divine quality of presence, the divine quality of support and connection. She says this was something she had from her childhood. She grew up in not the greatest neighborhood. She recounts in her childhood there were streets very near her home where people knew not to walk because it was too dangerous. She was on one of the streets where you could walk, but she remembers the kids, she and her brother asking her dad, are we rich? And Dad came home with like his entire paycheck in cash. And he said, this is how much money we had. They're like, we are rich. And then he says, and here are the bills. This is how much goes to rent. This is how much goes to electricity. This is how much goes to this. This is how much goes to that. And at the very end, there was $20 left over. And he said, this is for fun. This is for ice cream. This is for fun trips. But the reason why we're well off is because we're very careful. And we pay attention and we support each other. So she said what she likes to do is have a glad start. Like when she wakes up in the morning, she says, I'm glad to be part of your life. When she meets people, she loves when kids come to visit because she says, I'm so glad to see you. And she is earnest, and the kids are glad to see her too. So her public life began, as she had a life before her public life. She went to university, she went to law school, she was working with a prestigious law firm. She met this political organizer working as an intern in the law firm, and eventually they got married and had 2 beautiful girls. And they were having a nice life in their nice house with their nice friends and schools in Chicago. And her husband came home and said, hey, I'd like to run for president. What do you think of that? And before she could answer, he said, you have absolute veto power. I can't do this without your support. So he knew that support is critical. And she absolutely knew this was the last thing she wanted. She did not want to give her okay. And she thought about it for a long time. And finally, she looked at, what their lives would look like if they did run for president and if they didn't. And she thought that if they didn't run for president, even though they would definitely have a wonderful life, she would regret what their life could have been. Whereas if they went for it, there was the potential, there were so many people who she thought they could be so helpful for. And so they went for it. And it was a hassle, the fear was real, but they overcame it. One of the stories she tells about fear is Lin-Manuel Miranda, who really transformed the ways we think of the founding fathers when he wrote Hamilton the musical. And he was telling them a story. He was at an event at the White House where he delivered one of the songs that was going to be central to Hamilton. And he talked about fear. He said, what transformed his life was when he was in 6th grade and he was going to lip sync a Phil Collins song in front of the whole 6th grade. And there was this mountain of fear. He could not even see over the mountain of fear. And he was like, I can either be stopped by this fear or I can climb onto it and let it fuel me. So he climbed up on top of the fear and he used the fear energy to dynamize, to charge his Phil Collins lip sync. And that was it. That was his, and then he went from there to Hamilton. 20 years or so. But that's the energy, and Michelle Obama recognized that energy, that the fear can stop you or you can let it fuel you. She also, there are other things she can do with the fear. She likes to knit. and she finds that knitting is a release. And what she likes about the knitting is that when her mind is going into negative places and when she's feeling really bad, it doesn't take her brain to knit. Her body can do it by itself, and it's doing small physical steps that are making positive action. And she says, if you're ever stuck, if you're ever stymied, if you're ever feeling too negative, just think of something small you can do, just small positive steps that will move you in the right direction. So that is her recommendation for us. Now, I want to talk about, it's sort of an interesting story. She's from, Barack Obama's from Hawaii, and so those guys end up on Hawaii all the time. And there's this story of a recent news story of a 35-year-old woman who went hiking with her dog. And in the middle of what would have been her hike, another hiker came up and spotted the dog barking down the cliff and no sign of the woman. And the guy called 911, and then a helicopter actually came because in Hawaii, you know, there isn't much flat land. Everything's mountainous, and so when you fall off a trail, you fall down. So they got the helicopter and brought the dog up and found that her name, address, and phone number was there. So they called her up and went to visit her home, found her car at the trailhead. So they figured she was nearby. The rescuer came and rappelled down the cliff and found her 170 feet below where the dog was. But got her stabilized, and they brought her out, and she's fine now. And what's nice about that is, you know, so many things worked in her favor for this to have a positive outcome. You know, it's a good thing she brought her dog along, because otherwise, where would you look? It's a wonderful thing that the hiker had a cell phone and knew that there was something going on. The dog managed to communicate that, and they could see, you know, down the hill where she could have fallen. And it was good that they had such a good search and rescue on Oahu that they could come and save her. So this is another way in which everybody can work together for good. And these are the kinds of news stories you don't often see, but it's nice to know that these structures and coincidences all work together for us. We can, you know, the universe was always conspiring for her highest and best. So let's think about the Argonauts. So when we talked about the Argonauts before, there's Jason and Medea. Really, it's a love story with Jason and Medea. Jason goes off to the end of the world and falls in love with Medea. Medea is, they're both very in touch with the gods, and we know that the ancient gods are archetypes within us. They're ways that the ancients could connect with the infinite attributes, the characteristics of the gods, of God. You know, Hera she was the mother of all the gods. Hera actually loved both Jason and Medea. So Jason went off. Jason was an example too. When you look at the story of Jason, there are three things we're looking at. We're looking at the historic Jason, and the historic Jason probably happened 3,300 years ago, so a long time ago, when there were not that many people in the world and they lived far away and transportation was fraught. There's the metaphysical or archetypal, which is every person in the story of Jason and the Argonauts is somebody inside us, is a characteristic of us, either a divine characteristic or a human characteristic. And then there's the literary Jason. We're going to talk a lot about the literary Jason. So when Jason went off to meet Medea, unknown to himself, he was going to meet her. He went off with 50 of the best Greek warriors in a wonderful boat. But whenever they met people, instead of fighting them, these people often wanted to fight the Argonauts, but he was like, no, 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 be our new friends. You know, we want you guys to be our new friends. And this is what he got from listening to God. These are all God's people, and we're going to connect with them, and we're going to work with them. And they sometimes had to fight, but more often they just created alliances with the people. When they got to Colchis, he created an alliance with Medea, who helped him get the golden fleece and bring it back against her father's will to Iolcus, which is where Jason was from. So, and then when they get back to Iolcus, the ancient legends don't talk a lot about that. But Jason did have, he was sort of beyond his, he'd had the great adventure, he'd accomplished that, and now there was revenge he was wanting. Peleus, King Peleus had killed his father, and so he wanted revenge for that. And he also wanted to be king. He's like, hey, why can't I be king? I just went on a great adventure. And we have two literary geniuses who write about this. Euripides is the first one. Euripides, and Seneca is the second. Seneca is a Roman Stoic. Euripides is a master Greek tragedian. Wrote tragedies. The Athenians had a 3-day theater festival every year, and it was considered your civic and religious and moral duty to attend all 3 days, because you'd learn, the whole society, everybody in Athens would learn what Athenian society was really about and what they wanted you to know for the future. And these are actually the sort of things, I used to create events like this when I worked at Microsoft. You know, we would say, what do we want the developers and program managers, what do we want people at Microsoft to learn, to know? And we've got them for X hours, and we're gonna give them the message. Well, the message for the year when Euripides wrote Medea was, we don't want you going for a trophy wife. When you go off on your adventures and come back home, we don't want you saying about your wife, you were okay back in the day, but really I want to upgrade. Apparently this was a problem they were having in Greece. And so they wrote the play Medea to show just how wrong it could go. And what happens in the play Medea is that when Jason asks Medea to kill his father-in-law, she does better than that. She convinces his daughters to kill him. But it turns out that this didn't make them very popular in Iolcus, and so they had to leave town and move to some place where people didn't know about that. So really revenge, this was another thing. If you really want to get revenge on someone, there are other ways to get revenge than that. There are sort of lesser ways. Maybe revenge is living a successful life someplace else. But they did. They were living a successful life somewhere else. They had twin boys. They were happy. Everything was going well. And Jason's like, I still want to be king. And he met this princess who was younger and prettier than Medea and richer. And he's like, hey, Medea, you know what? If I'm king, you could be part of a harem, and you'd be like the #2 wife. Wouldn't that be good? That didn't work out for Jason either. It actually, oddly, in the play, in all the plays about Medea, she ends up at the end, she goes to heaven in a golden chariot. And I think this is because she was true to the God within her, even though she ends up being sort of a villain. In Euripides, she is just the wronged wife. Seneca the Roman pictures her more as a particular ambitious force of nature. In fact, it's generally considered that Lady Macbeth, who urges Macbeth to kill his friends for ambition, was modeled after Seneca's Medea. But I have a different perspective about Seneca. Seneca was a Stoic. And Stoic, right now if you've heard of Stoicism, it sort of seems like a philosophy where you grit your teeth and you go through all kinds of bad things, but you can do it because you're Stoic and you're not going to complain. You're just going to grimace and suffer. And this is not what Seneca meant by Stoicism. He saw Stoics as being always in touch with the highest good, that you would accept nature and fate. So you wouldn't fight against what is. You'd say, this is the way the world is, I accept this, and I'm going to be as virtuous as I can. I'm going to be the best person I can. He always wants you to be mindful. So the Stoics are in the present moment, which is good because as you and I all know, the present moment is where you find the presence of God, the presence of spirit, the presence of joy. The past is stories you're telling yourself. The future is a mystery. You never know how it's going to end up. So Jason actually, in Seneca's Roman retelling of the myth, Jason was very stoic during the voyage. And then when he got home from the voyage, he started telling him stories about how he was owed revenge and how he was owed a kingship and how he was owed a better wife than this one, who'd been fine, but come on, he is so cool. Shouldn't he be king of Corinth? So in Seneca's story, he has the fall when he falls out of his stoicism into wanting all the worldly things. But then after he loses his wife and his children and his kingdom and all his friends, he goes back to stoicism. And he stays mindful. He does all as virtuous as he can be. He's benevolent to people. And he actually is happy. He's as happy as he was when he was with the Argonauts. It reminds me of an Adyashanti story. You guys know Adyashanti, the American Buddhist, who in a prison project taught people on death row about Buddhist meditation. And one of the gentlemen said, even though I'm locked up in my cell for life because of the awful things I did, when I was reactive, I am more free now than I ever was outside. I'm not reactive. I can sit in the cell and I'm in the presence. I'm a beaming beacon in the middle of death row. Actually, it was interesting because he inspired all the other death row inmates to study meditation with Adyashanti. And so they're a little satsang in death row. One wishes that all death rows could be like that, but it's nice that Jason, it took losing everything in order for him to pay attention to what was really important. It took this death row gentleman losing everything for him to be able to focus on what was really important. And we can focus on what's really important right now, since now is the only time there is. We can work on, we can find gladness in each other. We can work on connecting to the presence. We can work on our divine principles. There are more stories of Jason. So the Romans really loved Jason because he was a Stoic and he went on adventures, and he eventually, even though he made some mistakes, he repented of it later on. He was also popular in the medieval world. Certainly when they started doing the Crusades, Jason and the Argonauts were the example of what you want it to be like in the Crusades. Get all your best warriors, and you've got God there with you, and you go and you get the golden fleece. And the golden fleece was considered the Lamb of God, So the innocent child of God, watched out by the shepherd. They created Philip the Good of Burgundy created the Knights of the Golden Fleece, which actually expanded under Charles the Bold, who was Holy Roman Emperor. And they still have the Knights of the Golden Fleece. King Felipe VI of Spain is the current head of the Knights of the Golden Fleece, if anyone wants to become a Knight of the Golden Fleece. I could give you his email. In medieval times, the legend of King Arthur, a lot of those characters came from Jason and the Argonauts. It was a bunch of the best knights working together for goodness around society. Although Jason was variously pictured, it depends whether you like him or not. People who liked him thought he was Galahad, the completely noble knight who was always looking for good and could not be defeated. People who didn't like him saw him as Lancelot. He was a good guy breaking up marriages wherever he can. Chaucer hated him. Chaucer saw him as a scoundrel and seducer. And he was like, he is an example of what not to be. Morgan Le Fay from King Arthur was modeled after Medea, a very powerful magician, but you don't want to get on the wrong side of her. Medea was considered by a lot of people, some people, especially in the Crusades, saw Jason as Jesus on earth, having adventure. So obviously the good side of Jason and the side that's very connected to the godliness in us. And they saw Medea as being Mother Mary. And so she also as a force for good, giving Jesus the golden fleece and ascending to heaven in a golden chariot. So people in the Middle Ages, the thing I like about this is people are looking at the stories and finding the most important lesson that they want to learn. Do you want to teach people, sometimes you want to teach people to see what happens if you give up on your stoicism. The world can be a dangerous place if you lose your principles. Your marriage might not work out so well if you try to upgrade in the middle of it. Seeking revenge doesn't really work out very often. No. I want to talk about the last thing I want to talk about that I forgot to mention at the beginning is something you guys have gotten before, but it was a long time ago. And it is the awakening of Lester Levinson. And Lester Levinson was an engineer who was in his 40s. He was actually 42 in 1952, so born in 1910. And he was successful in life. His family loved him. He was successful in business. He started and sold his own business. And he was at a doctor's appointment, and the doctor said, "Lester, your heart is just about done. You got nothing left in the old ticker. I recommend that for the rest of your days, you go home and don't move around very much because it's just about gone." And Lester went home and he was like, I wasted my life. I thought I was doing all this good stuff, but yet, here I am and I can't move or do anything, I thought I was doing everything I could to be happy. But in fact, this is how it worked out for him. He sat down in his 1952 Manhattan Island apartment and thought, when have I been happy? And he had always been looking for love. He had been looking to be loved. But in contemplation, it was like, it wasn't when I was loved that I was most happy. The times I was most happy was when I was loving someone else. When I was loving was when I had happiness. And so he thought back on his family and he started loving them and he became more upbeat. And he thought about everybody through his life, like his enemies, his friends, and he started loving them and he became even more happy. And he looked around his apartment and he started loving all the furniture in his apartment. He looked out the window, started loving the sidewalk, the stop sign, the traffic. And by then he was so full of energy, he walked out the door and just walked around Manhattan, loving everyone and everything that he could see. He had so much energy, he stayed up all night, didn't come home until morning. And his heart never gave him a lick of trouble again. He actually ended up becoming very spiritual and founding a spiritual organization. But the lesson is that what's most powerful in your life, and really the happiest you'll be, is when you're loving someone or something. It's the lovingness. And being loved is wonderful too. But what will make you truly happy is the lovingness. And let's do this with a little heart meditation. So let's just breathe into our hearts and exhale. And let's just open our heart to love. Let's just think of, who do we love? Is it a pet? Is it somebody around here? And as we open to love, we notice our heart fills with that love and it overflows. And it's filling our whole bodies. And we can just, as it fills our bodies, we can relax into that love, that ease, that joy, that peace. And it spills out from our body and connects us to each other. Everybody in this room, we can feel the love from their field and they can feel the love from ours. It's filling the room. It is connecting us with everybody who is watching this now or at any time. Because love exists outside of space and time. Just like you can pray for something in the past, you can love anyone in the past, and they will feel that love in the present. And as we feel that love and as we feel that connection, we know the universe is always conspiring for our highest and best. We can always have faith in the universe. We can always know that we are the instruments of love. We are the face of God. We are the love of God. We are connected with the universe, with each other. And we can create a heaven on earth. We can have a grand rising by loving, by taking simple steps, simple physical steps, by taking our fear energy and standing on top of it and using it to fuel us. Not running away from the fear, but loving the fear. By loving the fear, we can channel it into its most positive use. By loving our stoicism, by being mindful, by loving who we have next to us, by loving our companions, by seeing every adventure as a way for us to bring more love into the world, we can create heaven on earth. We can create a grand rising. We can be part of the universe conspiring for everyone's highest and best. And so now, let's just allow ourselves to inhale once again into our hearts. Move our awareness back into the room. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. So thanks. So today I invite you to be loving, to have a grand rising, and to know, we'll say it again, we'll say it twice together, the universe is always conspiring for my highest and best. The universe is always conspiring for my highest and best. Even Jason. No, Jason can do it, and we can do it too. So I want to encourage you, there are prayer cards on all the seats. On one side, it asks for a demonstration, and I encourage you, if you can think of any time that a prayer has made you, has uplifted you, has made you feel better, to write that demonstration on it, because that helps firm and build the faith in your consciousness and our consciousness that of the reality of the prayers, and it helps you open to the prayer next time you say a prayer. And then on the other side, there's actual opportunity for a prayer. You can pray for someone else. You can pray for some situation in the world. You can pray for yourself. You can pray for the person who reads the prayer. These prayers have powers, and they're instruments of love. And so you can use them for that. And I think it's now time for a song from our wonderful ChristineEss Young.
Feet planted firmly, sunk into the sand, trapped in my practice of playing a song, pushing with all my might, hands against the wall, cornered by my expectation of it all. Open to the vision next for me. Open up the door and let me see the map that lights my path from here to there, where I breathe you. Fill me deeper, make me stronger. Fly me higher, build me taller. Set me free, let me fly. It's time to fly. Let me free fall into service. Let me dance into my word. I rejoice in every moment when I breathe you. Fill me deeper, make me stronger. Fly me higher, build me taller. Set me free, let me fly. It's time to fly. My path is lit and I have vision. Every thought begins with love, love, love.
beautiful. As usual, I love your songs that you write and sing for us. Let's give her another hand. Okay, so you filled out your prayer cards. So now is the time for thinking about how we want to share our riches with Genesis. Our center is supported by God, and we welcome you to be part of how God's support shows up. If you are on Facebook, please visit our website at genesiscsl.org, or you can text your tithe to 206-800-7595. Let us take a moment and craft our financial gift for this morning. So if you would take your prayer requests and your offering, hold it next to your heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. And now let's, as Gideon collects the offering, and your prayer cards, let's stand and sing God is my source. Open hearts, we receive these gifts, knowing the fruits that come forth do that powerful work. And we bless the givers, knowing that as we give, we receive tenfold. In deep gratitude, we give thanks, and so it is. So thank you for joining us today. Please join us after service for food and for fellowship. We wish every one of you a week filled with joy and love and true connection with everybody, not only your Genesis family. So let's stand and, oh, you're standing already. You can sit down so you can stand again. And we will sing our closing song, I Release.